No, unmute. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so you have a recording and I don't have to do that. Okay, so let's see, share screen. I think is what I want to do. Okay, hold on, sorry guys. Desktop. And let's see. Okay. So do you guys see that first slide? Okay. And then, okay, so no, I can't see all you guys, but if you have a question or anything while I'm talking, feel free to interject or anything, because I'll just start talking and not seeing your guys' faces or getting that feedback from you guys, I'll just go on. But I don't mind if you talk back to me. So I'm just going to talk about spouse support. And I really, when we were at Summit is when I really realized how important that is, and things that I wasn't doing myself to get my spouse on board as much as I wanted. So let's go to the next slide. So this is my husband and me. And so just, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but we have been together almost 11 years and married 6 years now. And so for the first 5 years of our marriage, I was in school or not working or not in school. And so Justin was kind of the primary income person. And then we had a kid in there somewhere. And so, but he's always been the one to support me in all my dreams and goals and plans. And even when I had setbacks, he was the one telling me, no, keep going, keep going, keep going. And so then, I got onto Beachbody, and 2 weeks into the challenge, I was like, I'm going to be a coach. And he's like, you've already taken on so much. What are you doing? And I was like, well, I just see the benefit of it. And so at first he was hesitant, but now, learning what I have, he's kind of, on board now, and that's really fun. But so he's always been just a huge support factor for me, even before we got married. And so, but when I'm talking through this presentation, when I say spouse, think of anybody. It doesn't have to be a husband or a wife. It can be a boyfriend or a girlfriend or your roommate or your whole family, kids, spouse, anything, any person or persons that is your support system to you. So just kind of interject that. If I keep saying spouse, you can just click that in for yourself. So let's go to the next slide. So these are 3 of the couples that spoke at Summit when we went this summer for the couples board, I guess you would say. But they shared all their stories, and they were a lot of fun to listen to, and just they're real people with real struggles and successes. And so they are kind of, what I talk about is kind of a collaboration of what they talked about when they were up on stage. And I found all their information really useful, and just kind of was like, aha, I get it. Like, your spouse is important in your business. So getting the support that you want. These are going to be the 3 main things that I discuss is the big picture or your vision, communication, and making a plan and schedule. So each slide that I do next will kind of talk about each of these things. So first one, the big picture and your vision. So something I want you to do, if you haven't done it already, is just thinking about the vision you have for your business. You have the long-term goals and short-term goals, but just really thinking about where you see this taking you. I know people have talked about before, you may want to be a 15-star diamond, you may not want to be, but just kind of laying those out for yourself. And then also what you want your business to do for you, for your family, for me, I know that eventually it'd be nice to not do my full-time job as much so that I can spend more time at home, especially as Melody gets to school age and she's going to want to be involved, and I want to be a PTA mom and do activities like that. But, I can't do that if I'm working 40 hours, during the day. It just makes it that much harder to spend your time elsewhere. But, if I can make this work to where I have that time, that's great. So that's kind of a big picture for my business. But once you have that vision in that picture, you want to protect it. You don't want to let anything stop you from reaching that, from going for that. So one thing that they had said is, if your spouse doesn't see your vision, if they're not on board right now, don't wait for them. Just keep going. They'll see your work. They'll see the drive and the effort that you're putting towards it, and eventually they'll come around. You just can't stop because they say, I don't know if you'll ever be able to stop working full time in your job. I think that's always going to be a thing for you. You're like, I don't think so. So just keep pushing. One of the guys, David, for Katie, David, let's see, the couple in the middle here, it took him 18 months to come on board with her, to decide that he was going to start working out and doing this with her. So a year and a half, that's a long time. And not that it'll take a year and a half for everybody, but just shows you that you just got to kind of keep pushing through, and they'll come around. So that's kind of the big picture vision. So then the next one is communication. And this is huge. This is one that is so simple, but I wasn't doing it before Summit. I guess I never really communicated very well about the business to Justin or really what I wanted out of the business. So one thing is that, if they're not on board, they may see your business differently than you see it. They may think, oh, you're just on your phone or computer all the time. Like, what could you possibly be doing on your phone, just typing away all the time? They may see it as you're taking time away from your family.
My body may or may not be rebelling against me for all the junk I've eaten today, but
hey, sorry. Hey, Lisa, right, there you go. Thanks for muting, Lisa.
But so they may think you're taking time away from family time or from, your time together. So their view of it would be different than yours, because you see the value in putting in the hour of time for, responding to your challenges or doing follow-up with people. But they don't see it that way. So you're all in and 100% in with doing what you want with the business. And they're sitting back kind of on the sidelines, on the couch, whatever, thinking, this doesn't really seem like a good deal, because they don't see the value in it yet. But this is where the communication, sorry, I'm adjusting my seating position, where communication is huge, because the communication that you have with them will lead them into the support that you're wanting. So from Summit, I learned that how important the communication was. And I told you earlier that I wasn't doing enough communicating about the business. So we heard all this, and I'm pretty sure I was walking out of that room saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to sit down with Justin as soon as I get home and just, here's my view and like my vision of whatever I want to do with this business. And so I got home and I told him, I said, I want to make this work. Like, I've done other business adventures and they haven't worked, but I said, this is different. I want to do this. And so I really just let him in on that, which was really neat, because he, I think, saw what I saw in it versus just me wanting to do another thing that would take time away from everything else. So really just make a time, sit down, communicate with whoever that is for you, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, family, whoever it is, and just ask for the support that you need. Just point blank say, I need you to support me. Easy as that. And that support can be different for everybody. For me, it's, if I want to spend time doing the business, I need someone to watch Melody or to do the laundry or the household things that would take time from me that, I need to spend in the business. So there's just trade-offs. It won't always look the same for everybody. You may have certain obligations that they could help out with that, would allow you to have a little extra time to work your business. But everybody's support will look different. But don't be afraid to ask for that support. Another thing is when you're talking with them and you're seeing the vision that you have and you have these goals and dreams, work on those together. Instead of it just being like, I want to do this and reach these goals, talk to them about your goals, see what, if they have any goals for your business too. Maybe they don't want to work the business, but they want to kind of work it for you too. But then you can make goals together and they become like y'all's goals. And so when your spouse will, watch the kids, then, you're working on y'all's goals together. So it's not just your business thing anymore. It can be y'all's together. So you're working on making that work for the both of you. So just from this slide, just with communication, it's just so important that you realize that the more that you communicate, the more support you'll get, because there's just the understanding of where you're coming from. Because I never really thought about communicating what I wanted out of the business to Justin. To me, it made sense that, I wanted to help other people get healthy and fit because I saw such great results in my challenge group and how I was feeling, and I wanted others to feel that way too. But he didn't know what my mind was thinking, and so it just makes sense that I should talk to him about it, but I just didn't because, sometimes you just assume that they understand, and it's not always like that. But so a year later, he is much more on board, and he knows what my plans are, and he's on board with that. And so, just communicate with whoever that support system is for you, your spouse or whoever. And I really encourage you just to really have that sit down conversation where, there's no other distractions, where, kids are in bed, it may be late at night or super early in the morning, but just have that talk and, write things down, have a plan, which leads me to the next slide, make a plan or a schedule. So you have to have a plan or a schedule, something where you can get everybody involved. So whether, right now for me, that's just me and Justin because Melody counts, but she doesn't really get the whole schedule thing yet. So sit down, get everybody involved that you need, and have them all put their own input into it. So, like for me, I wake up pretty early, like 4:45 or 5 in the morning, and get ready for the day. And when I'm running a challenge group, I send out all my challenge check-ins and things like that, or check in on Facebook at 6 in the morning before I even walk out of the door, so I can get that done first thing in the morning and not have to worry about it. But then, so something that we talked about coming back from Summit is that, when can I really work on my business and just have that time to do that? And he started taking Melody, to and from daycare. So then when I get home, like 4 o'clock-ish, then from 4 to 5, usually before they even get home, I try doing a little bit of follow-up, or I do my personal development. I get something off my checklist during that time where neither one of them are home. I have that time. But so we kind of talked about that, doing that. Or sometimes I'll do my workout, whatever kind of works best. But then my other time that I work on the business is 9 to 10 at night after Melody goes to bed. That's my focus time to, work on the business and finish up whatever I didn't do earlier that day. But Justin and I talked about that together because it's his time too, as much as it is mine. And so when he gets home, he wants to, work out or do yard work or whatever. So we had to kind of think of the times that worked best for the both of us, because it wouldn't be fair if it was only about me and only about, the time that I wanted to spend on my business, the time that I wanted to work out, the time that I wanted to, so that's I. So it had to become a we thing, and we talked about it. So, you're a team, you do it together. And so it just helps your business if you, writing. Sorry, I don't know if I'm doing that or not, but, so, that just helped make our schedule a lot better when we decided on it together. But so you have to kind of plan your time out. You'll have your work time to work on the business, but then you also need to have that focused family time. And that can be, just, you time. That can be with you and your spouse, or you and kids, or however it needs to be. But I'm going to read this kind of off here. But the more organized you are and stick to the schedule, the more successful you will be. And when you're spending time with your spouse or family, be there with them. Be present. Be in that moment. So that way, when you're with them, it's quality time. And then when you're with your business, it's quality time. So just be in the moment, whichever area you're working on in that time. So that way you really give your best effort. So you're giving your best effort for your challengers when you're work time, but then you're giving the best to your family too when you're in their time. And so I know a lot of people do the, on the focused family time, do no phone zones. So whether it's, that's really hard, I know, and I struggle with that a lot too, is putting it on your phone. But if you have, say, start with 30 minutes. So from, 6 to 6:30, I'm going to set my phone away, turn it on mute, whatever, just put it out of sight and spend that time with the family or whatever you want to do. But really just try to make it, to where you're just focused on that one thing, being present in the moment. And then that will ultimately, help your business better, because you'll be with them and they'll want to support you once you're, working on your business and being focused. So make a plan, make a schedule, write it down, stick with it. It takes a little bit of time to, make it more of a habit and just get a little easier, because I know we've gone, with Melody's bedtime being, she goes to bed kind of later, but at 9. So it's like 9, 10, we're like brushing teeth, and it's like, okay, this is going into my business time now. This is not fun. So it's like, you got to kind of, tweak it a little bit, work around it, kind of get into the flow. So everybody's kind of working on it together, but it gets a little easier. We still have a little hard time on days, but that's okay. It works. So that's the make a plan schedule. And then this is a quote from David Atkins, which I'm just going to show you his picture so you can see him on the left side of the screen. He was talking at Summit, and he said, your spouse, and then I put in whoever that is to you, will support you when they see you are serious, you communicate, you're consistent, you want to show up every single day, and you want to take no excuse. Stop looking out the window for somebody to give you permission to be successful. The only person you need is that person looking at you in the mirror right in front of you every single day. So don't wait for somebody to give you that you need. They'll come around in time, but you know your goals and your drive for this business. So just go for it, and you'll show everybody, and they'll kind of follow along once you prove yourself to them if that's what they need. But they'll come around and they'll support you, and you just, if you don't get the support you need from the people that you need, even after you talk to them, we're here for you. Team VIP is. And so just say, hey, I need someone to say, this to me. I need this support from somebody. And we're all here for support if you need. And that's all, guys. So any questions or comments or feedback? I guess I'm unmute or mute.
Meredith, so good. I had so many great takeaways. I know when I was sitting right next to you at Summit and we were just talking about it, right? Like you pretty much said exactly what you said here. And I have to tell you, like your social media game, guys, if you don't follow Meredith, you should, because I don't know what happened, probably some conversations after Summit, but your social media game has like skyrocketed, and it's just been so good. So awesome job on that. A couple takeaways that I have such a hard time being present in the moment, and that's something I have to work on. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm thinking about Beachbody, you know. It's so difficult. And then another takeaway that was wonderful is scheduling out the time you're going to work on your business. And that's huge. And I put it in my phone, so it literally is a reminder to get off my phone at 5:30 when I arrive home to 7:30, so I can spend quality time. And it really, I mean, that's perfect. Scheduling and be present in communication were the takeaways. And so great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions, comments? Can relate?
Does anyone, hey guys, sorry about earlier. It's Lisa. I'm wondering if anybody has a spouse who isn't supportive right now that can share like a little bit of insight on anything on how to handle that. Like, who's experiencing it either currently or has experienced it very, very recently. Everybody's spouse is so supportive. Is that am I the only one?
Well, okay. So, I know I talked to the group, whatever, but, so not that Justin wasn't ever supportive when I decided to do the business, but I tend to be I'll do it, I volunteer kind of person with anything. And so, you know, I had just started a full-time job after grad school, and, you know, had Melody, was adjusting to everything, like, you know, just with life and working after being in school forever. And so he's like, I thought you said you weren't going to do coaching. I thought you were just going to do, you know, the challenge group and be done with it and feel better. And I was like, well, I talked to Laura and I kind of think I want to just do it. And so, you know, I signed up without really talking to him at first about it, which there's that communication again. But so I signed up just by myself, like not really talking to him. And so I think that kind of started, like, not that he ever told me not to do it, but he was like, you don't really have time for that right now. And so then he saw that I kept doing it. I was doing the challenge groups, having fun with it. And so he kind of started coming around. He started doing the workouts, you know, together. So he started enjoying that part of it. And so then really after Summit, doing more communicating, I feel like he became even more supportive than just doing the programs with me or doing them on his own, you know. But
that's really helpful, actually, that you say that. It's the communication, I think, that makes a huge difference with both of us. Because I think that's what I've done is I haven't like talked to him enough about it, because I just kind of assume that he knows what's going on.
Yes.
That's my problem, is that I just assume that he's in my head all the time. That's my problem. Yeah, so that's a really good point. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think too, explaining what we do, because from the outside looking in, I think one of the situations that I just talked to Ryan about is he just thought I was like on Facebook all the time. Like, he didn't understand like what I was doing. He thought I was just like using Facebook like everybody else does. So I think that that's important. But I also have told Ryan too, because if you allow this business to take over your life, it absolutely will. And I'm somebody who's like an all-in person. So I told him, like, if I make scheduled hours and if I am actually efficient in that time, it's just such a stress relief for me to be able to put my phone and walk away and be present. If I didn't get what I needed to get done and I wasn't efficient in that time block that I had scheduled, it's like weighing on me. And like Laura said, it's like, I'm there and you're talking and I'm listening, but my head is somewhere else. And like, that's not really fair. So I have to remember that when it's like, it's time to work, I have to really make myself focus and work, because I know it'll be better for me and my family, where I can feel like, whew, okay, I got it in. I don't have to stress out about it. But I also told Ryan, you know, you got to hold me to this because I am somebody who will work all the time if I have the ability to. And I gave him permission to like call me out on like, hey, put your phone away. And he's done that. Like he does that to me. So I gave him that permission too, of like, here, I'm going to try really stay true to this. But if you see that it's getting to the point where I'm, abusing it or not staying true to what I said, you absolutely have the ability to call me out and remind me of, what we decided together. So again, I think communication is key there. So I don't know, hopefully that helps.
Yes, it totally helps. Absolutely. I don't communicate enough with him about what I'm doing. I just assume it's not fair to him that I think I get mad at him when he does call me out for stuff like that. I'm like, you just don't understand what I'm doing. I'm changing lives, and I'm a dreamer, and I'm a big picture person, so, and he's all about details. He's like, well, what have you accomplished? I'm like, but I don't know. I made other people happy today. It's weird.
Yeah. And I think too, this is a big thing for me when I first started. If somebody would respond back to me and they wanted information, as a new coach, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to respond right now, or they're not going to join my challenge group and I've lost them forever. Like that is a thought that used to go through my head. And yeah, if we have the ability to meet with them right then, but I've gotten to the point now where if it's like 6:30 at night and somebody does that, I'll just shoot them a message, say it real quick and say, hey, right now is my family time. So when I put my kids to bed about 8:30 or 9, I'll respond back to your message. And everybody's cool with that. I've never had anybody be like, well, never mind, then forget it. I don't want you on your challenge. But I remember as a new coach, I felt like I had to respond immediately whenever anybody reached out to me. But I think just letting your, prospects know, hey, I'll respond to you at this time, saw your message, and I'll get back to you at this time. And I think it's just respectful to, again, both your family, spouse, whoever. And then you're letting your prospect know too, so they don't feel like, hey, I reached out to her and she's not responding. So I feel like that really helped me also. Anything else? Man, we're a quiet group tonight.
We are kind of quiet. Yeah, Raquel, I have to admit, it's still a struggle. I see a notification. I'm like, what is that notification? And what does that mean? I am constantly about that red little square, but I'm trying so hard to put that phone away and saying, okay, I'm going to answer my challenge groups 2 times a day. I'm going to answer coach boot camp 2 times a day and not try to be stressed. And I was like, everyone's going to be okay. Everyone will. They don't need me to respond every second, even though I think they need me to, but they don't. They will be okay. And so once I had that in my head, and Raquel told me that at Summit, literally, I've been a coach for a year and a half, and that Summit was 3 weeks ago. A year and a half into the game, and I'm still living by the freaking notification. But I have changed my ways, and it makes me feel better. So I think just trying to play around with that and not thinking that everything has to be so immediate and respond right then. And like Raquel said, getting your checklist done and being just proficient about it so you're not stressed about those things you didn't do. So that's huge for me as well. Anything else? Everyone's good?
Meredith, that was such a great call. You were awesome. And thank you for sharing your story. And Laura and Raquel also, and Lisa. I think the biggest takeaway for me is just kind of what everyone else touched on is putting my phone down at night, especially at night when I try not to have any type of electronic before bed. And my husband, he's adamant on he doesn't like, technology when we're trying to sleep, no one wants a light, shining when you're trying to sleep. And so he will literally, if he's trying to show me something or if he's trying to talk to me, he will, if I'm yeah, that's how he knows. I respond yeah. And I'm not there. He grabs my phone and puts it on the nightstand. He's like, are you listening to me? So that was very helpful, just your whole call and the support, and you did such a great job.
Thanks. You know what I was thinking too, totally random, and I promise I'll quit talking after this. How great would it be if we got our spouses to get to know each other? Where they can
everybody
talk about like the issues, you know, I don't know. My husband's not that much of a talker, but he might be.
I'm just wondering who would lead
Be a
the
quiet
conversation. Like, who would lead it? Would
Just
Ryan
all
lead it?
stand there looking at
Yeah.
okay, maybe it was a terrible idea. Forget it. Forget I brought it up.
No, I think we should do it. We should definitely do it.
You have like
No,
a
it'd be so cool if we could like
Okay.
bring your husband to Zoom call Sunday. Like
Yes.
we could totally do that.
That's not a bad idea. I feel like that's kind of fun. Bring
Yeah.
your spouse, significant other, whoever.
Yeah.
Jessica,
We'll think on that.
I believe you're on. I think you're trying to say something, Jessica. You're on mute.
Not on mute.
Next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll work on the whole spousal, bring your spouse to Zoom night. I like that. I think we should plan it for sure. Like a virtual, you know, like Scott's right here over my shoulder type thing. We'll work on it. But okay. So I am going to post the recording soon. Y'all have an awesome night and see you online. Y'all have a good night. Bye.
Bye.